All right, let's get into a little more Vanagon, air-cooled Vanagon stuff here. One thing I wanted to go over is who should buy one of these things and what to expect when you get one. All right, now who should buy one is not like a lifestyle choice kind of thing. It's, hippies or no, no, none of that. Not the kind of stuff in a new vehicle. This is a 40-year-old collection of parts. All right, and you got to understand that. I saw one guy not too long ago on Facebook groups said that I have no mechanical ability, and he already had got an air cooled Vanagon, but he said am gonna, I swear I'm gonna find out how to work on it and everything. And I was like, ooh, that's a pretty steep learning curve. No mechanical ability. Well, when I got this van, I had mechanical ability. I'd wrenched on a lot of cars before. I was in the Army and I was on tanks on M1 Abrams. The problem I wrenched on cars in the Army too. The problem I had when I worked on tanks is I'd break a lot of bolts because I was so used to torquing the crap out of them on a tank. But, anyways, so I already had the mechanical ability. I just had no idea about air cooled Vanagons or air cooled cars in particular. I knew little bugs and stuff, but I didn't, to me, an air cooled engine was what was on a motorcycle. Um, so even then, the learning curve was pretty steep. And I pretty much immersed myself in Vanagon for 4 or 5 years. Um, but I was able to pull it off. I'll go through stories and tell you, but if you got no mechanical ability, all right, and I think everybody can have mechanical ability. Um, but if you're not used to busting your knuckles up and stuff, this ain't a good vehicle to have. Any vehicle that's this old. Um, if you think you're going to buy one of these and rely on a mechanic, ooh, you better have a big pocketbook. And it all depends on where you're located. When I got mine, I got this one in Dallas, Texas. Now I live in Portland, Oregon. Now, in Dallas, you were lucky to find a place that could work on this. There were VW, Dallas is a big city, so there were some VW places, but it was really hard to find somebody that knew about air cooled Vanagons. Now, here in Portland, I know of three places. I even know of one parts place. Maybe I'll go over and film there one day. That is just like Vanagon heaven. Um, but if you live in a place like this where there's more access to mechanics who know these things, that's a plus. But relying on a mechanic to fix a lot of this stuff is just going to cost you a lot of money. I'll give you an example. When I first got this one, probably about maybe a year, I don't even remember, driving home one day, not too far from my house, and all of a sudden my gas pedal didn't work. I mean, it worked, went up and down, but it wasn't doing anything for the engine. So I managed to glide into the little parking lot. And since I knew about this vehicle, I went back and looked, and it was still connected to the throttle body back there. So I got up front here and I dropped the spare tire, and under the spare tire is a little box right under the accelerator and a couple bolts. Take that off, and there is where the accelerator pedal is connected to the cable. Well, all that happened was that little bolt, and it was sitting right in there, bolt nut and everything, had just worked itself loose over the years, and it finally fell off. So I got in here, had tools in the van, like is a good thing to do, and it took me probably about 10 minutes to put it all back together. And truthfully, it's been like that ever since. Okay, 20 years ago is when I fixed it, and it's been fine. Um, got in, drove home, no big deal. Cost me nothing, just a little time. But if you had to rely on a mechanic for that, say you don't know what the heck's going on, all of a sudden your gas pedal don't work. You manage to pull into a little parking spot, and then you got to call a tow truck, and then you got to have a mechanic fix it, and then you got to, you know, um, should be an easy fix. Mechanic shouldn't charge you too much, but still, a couple hundred for a tow, another 100 for the mechanic. $200 to fix something that if you had a little mechanical ability, you could have done for free, like I did. That's just a small portion of what could happen because these things are old. Um, so if you're not going to work on it yourself, this wouldn't be a good vehicle to buy. If I saw a post where not too long ago again where they had inherited this wasn't an air cooled Vanagon, it was a Westy, but it was like an 86. They had inherited their grandmother's and they were all excited about it. Well, you if grandmother drove it and kept it up because they said it's in excellent condition, fine, but still be prepared to work on it, be prepared to maintain that vehicle, get something in excellent shape and let it park for 3 or 4 months and then decide you're going to go on a camping trip. That's not a good idea. These vehicles, any vehicle, needs to be driven. Um, so that's something, if you inherit it or whatever, cool, but get ready to work on it. On the next video is coming up, I'll show you some of the tools you need and some of the must-haves for this vehicle. What else? Know what to prepare. Know what you're getting in for. Another thing people don't tell you about these things is these things are extremely slow. Not extremely. I mean, if you're driving around town, it's fine. You get on an expressway and you're going to go, 200 miles to camp someplace. If you're not comfortable getting past, do not buy this vehicle. I used to tell, okay, there were 3 vehicles of this age that were made. It was the air-cooled, the diesel. It wasn't 3, it was only 2. The air-cooled and the diesel. The diesel is the slowest one, but the air-cooled is close. Now, when I was in Texas, in Dallas, on the flat. Dallas is quite flat. I used to drive this thing flat out. I'd go down the expressway. I had business selling electronics and stuff. I'd go down the expressway, I'd go to this warehouse place I bought electronics from and fill it up. 75, boom, pedal all the way to the ground. This thing, all the way home. Never let me down. Always got me there and back. But I was still in Dallas, 75 on the expressway. Everybody else is doing 90. So I was getting past, no problem. But, it was capable. Now, you hit hills in this vehicle, it slows down a lot. Now, will it climb the hill? Yeah, it'll climb. It'll climb like a billy goat. You put this thing in first, it'll go up a hill. No problem. A very slow billy goat, though. So you got to realize that. But my main point of this is if you ain't prepared to work on it, do not buy one of these. And really, any old vehicle that's just old, you're going to run into problems. What they say about it is what you're doing is you're buying somebody else's problems when you buy a used vehicle. And, what I did when I bought this one, I'll tell you. What I had to do is I bought it, took it, all the old repairs and everything, took it back to stock. That way I knew what I was working with. And another thing I'll tell you too, really quick, before this goes too long, is keep it stock. If you are buying this for a reliable family camper, keep it stock. And that's not because I am a stock guy or you should. No, that's the most reliable thing you can. After dealing with a lot of aftermarket parts like I have, you'll realize that stuff does not hold up. And I'll go through here and I'll show you some of the stuff that aftermarket and how it held up versus stock. But keep it stock. And that's if you're doing a reliable camper. If you're making this into some show car, do whatever you want. But if you're wanting to go to point A, camp, and back home, no problems, keep it stock. All right, I hope I gave out some good information in this video. I'm going without a script. I'm trying to remember all this stuff. With this, I basically I hope I give out good and useful information if you happen to buy one of these or a Westphalia. But as far as being an actor or, I'm not. You can probably see I don't even have many teeth left. But as far as the information and the knowledge, I hope I'm giving out good information. But anyways, that's my little Vanagon talk today.